Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Haley, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, Dan.
Let's just get to it.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot of stuff to talk about, and we'll have all kinds of fun along the way. So we can forego the fun at the beginning, right?
Yeah, it's all fun.
It's all fun. Nobody's missing out on anything, so there should be no tears spent. Now,
Dan.
What?
On the end.
What?
I know you're disappointed.
I am disappointed because I like rambling about ridiculous things.
Yeah.
Sadly, nothing ridiculous happened to me this week.
That is sad.
It is. I have spent my life for the last 10 years talking about dumb things that I've done.
Yeah.
And I've gotten smarter. And now I got nothing.
The show's declining?
Yeah, the show's going down because I'm learning. Anyway, no, we've got all kinds of fun stuff. At the end of the show, we'll be talking about paint finishes. And I know that doesn't sound like fun stuff. Believe me.
Sounds dull.
It sounds dull. Yeah, I see where you're going.
Yeah.
But it is really important. If you make the wrong choice with the paint finish, it doesn't matter if you've got the right color,
paint.
If you've got the best paint.
Right.
A lot of the times that finish can make the project look worse than you wanted it to. Mm-hmm. It can function more poorly or not at all like you wanted it to.
Yeah.
You've got to get all of that right. And we spend tons of time on color and choosing the right paint. Don't always spend a ton of time talking about finish. We'll get to that at the end of the show. We'll also be in the studio, or at least we will be, and we'll be talking with Lauren Figueroa, interior designer, about a really cool service that she offers.
Yeah, design in a day. It's really unique to her. She saw a need in the industry, trying to make design services more affordable for everyone. So this service specifically, she comes in and you will get a design plan for your space in just a day.
Yeah, really, really cool stuff. That's coming up. Right now, let's talk about dining rooms, though. I mean, it's a central place in the home. It should be, a major place where your family connects, where guests come over and you share meals together, and it should be a great place.
Yeah, you play board games there.
All
draw
kinds.
At the table. You read at the table.
You discipline at the table.
Sure.
You bring the smack down when you're a parent, right?
Yeah.
And the children will remember that later, and it'll be great times. All of that happens at your dining room table, and we want those experiences to be accomplished at the most comfortable dining room table you can find.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people, we make this big purchase and we don't often buy dining room tables. We buy it once and then live with it for a long time. And we don't always realize there's a lot of different things you should consider when you're making that purchase. And I did exactly that. I didn't know all of the things to consider when I bought my original one. And we suffered for about 8 years with a table that fit into our space, but not when we were at it. And it was miserable. And I don't want anybody to experience that. Maybe I was just really dumb, but I think we'll find out if you knew this stuff or not.
Yeah.
So let's start with, before you head to the store, a few things that you should do. And one of them is to get measurements of your room. But it's not just getting measurements of the room. It's doing that, but also keeping something else in mind. And this is what I forgot.
You need 42 to 48 inches on each side of that table. So between the table and the wall, between the table and the doorway, you want 42 to 48 inches.
Yeah, even if you've got little people that you're trying to sit, like my family.
Because they grow.
We do grow. I keep hoping I'm going to grow. But we still need that space to get around it. And that's where we really ran stuck. We get somebody into, the end of the table, and once the other people take up the sides, there's no getting out.
Oh, my gosh.
It's really frustrating. So you've got a checklist. Have you gone to the bathroom? Have you done this? Have you washed your hands? Do you have everything you need? Before you sit yourself over there, make sure you're set.
You're not getting out.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. You don't want to have that experience.
That's bad.
So I had done all the measuring. I made sure my table would fit. I even made sure that I measured the table with the idea of people sitting at it. And all of that was going to work.
But sitting at it, pulling
your chair
than
pulling the chair out and moving.
Around
Completely stupid. I don't know why I didn't think of it, but I didn't think of it. But then when I'm looking online, this is something that a lot of people miss. So
you're not alone, Dan.
I'm not alone. Now, it's not just, we should mention, it's not just measuring to the walls 42 inches.
That's true.
Perhaps
I have furniture in my dining room.
Right.
I've got chairs up against one wall. I've got a table up against that same wall. And so really, I would be measuring from the end of that furniture in, not from the wall in.
Right. That's all important. Another thing to think about before you head to the store, just so the people helping you can help you as much as possible. Another thing to remember is, or think about and consider, is how many people you plan to regularly seat at that table.
Right. Not like a party that you want to have someday, but like on a daily basis.
Yeah. How many people? Because you need about 2 foot for each person, right?
Yes.
And that's going to give them space. I would
elbows,
recommend,
you don't
2.5 to 3 foot
in. Really?
with younger children.
Oh, sure.
There's less fighting. There's less bumping.
Yeah.
I mean, with kids, the smallest touch becomes a fight. He's touching me. Stop touching him.
It's like a powder keg.
Right.
Yeah.
It is. It's all waiting to blow. So make sure you keep all of that in mind. One other thing that I think is a really, really good piece of advice is to if you can forego, I guess I should say first, if you can forego that urge to buy the table when you see it.
Right?
Because we really all want to do that. I'm shopping now. I'm ready to go now.
Yep,
I found something
table.
I like now.
Let's get it.
Yeah. But if you can forego that, if you could go home and tape off the floor with the dimensions of the table just to get a visual of how that's going to lay out in your space and
really
work.
Smart.
It might be a really good thing to do because furniture stores are great big huge areas and scale is really thrown off in a big space like that.
Right.
So if you can do that, I would really recommend going off and taping off the dimensions of the table on the floor, laying a sheet down that's folded to fit that.
That's good advice for any piece of furniture, but especially the dining room table where it is such a flow of traffic issue. Mm-hmm. You've got to make sure you get it right.
And remember the 42 to 48 inches. And remember the 42 to 48 inches away from that edge, that taped edge, if you do it that way. Okay, that's those are big. Those are the rules of thumb for when you go shopping. Now let's just talk about a few of the different shapes that are out there and the pros and cons of each one. And let's start with round tables.
I really like a round table for a tighter space because it doesn't have corners. So I think the flow of traffic around the table is just easier. You can also push them into corners nicely.
Even though they're round, they can be pushed into a corner. Right?
Yeah. They're flexible.
I like the fact that they don't have corners or edges because I've got clumsy children sometimes.
Or people.
Nobody's whacking their head against the table. Well,
You're not.
I'm not. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of clumsy too. They typically seat more people. If you've got a pedestal table, that'll give you more foot room, more leg room. Doesn't really matter for my family.
You're not touching the floor.
No, our little feet dangle off the edges of the chairs as it is.
True.
Yeah. But yeah, the pedestal really helps with the leg room. That's all really good. Concerns when it comes to a round table is that the bigger it gets, the further away from the food or the center you become. So probably a lazy Susan or something like that in the middle to make passing food back and forth a little easier.
And I guess that's an interesting point because I normally think about round tables as being more intimate because you're facing, the center so everyone can see each other for the most part. But the bigger it gets, now you are farther and farther away from the person on the other side.
And that's where you've got to just figure out how many people I normally need to seat and then work from there. So round tables, rectangular tables, Haley's table of choice.
Yeah, this is my table of choice. They're better for open concepts, I think. And that's what a lot of us are running into now. We have a living room that is open to the dining room. And if you have that, I think a round table can be nice. However, it doesn't have the same defining line that a rectangular table has. And so my preference for those spaces is a rectangular table.
No, I like that. They're great for long, narrow rooms as well. The traffic flow is easier all the way around them. The food passing is always
super
very
important,
easy.
And that's easy.
The food passing is important. Sometimes we don't even enjoy the meal because we're so busy passing the ranch dressing around. Everybody should just have their own bottle of ranch at my house.
Oh my God.
It's our condiment of choice.
That's mine too, yeah.
Square tables really quickly. Not a big fan.
Them. Yeah, I think they're great for like a breakfast nook being pushed into the corner, but ultimately in most spaces, I think they can look a little bit awkward.
Yeah, there's more info than we can cover in this segment, but main thing is get those measurements. Remember the 42 to 48 inches.
Yeah.
Go to the store, and then once you've got a table figured out, maybe come home and map it out. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll be on the phone with Lauren Figueroa talking about design in a day.
Yeah.
That's all just ahead. Stay tuned.